Welcome to the Mindset Mirror Connection podcast. In today's episode, we are going to talk about why you think you binge eat and the actual reasons and underlying issues of why binge eating is a struggle for you. So if you're ready, listen up and lean in as we elevate your mind. Hola.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, 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 grills.
Okay.
Yeah. If y'all weren't listening last episode, I am remote. We are not in our studio, even though it looks like we are because of wonderful
Technology.
And every time I smile, I look like I have a grill because of my background.
Yes.
It's hilarious.
Which is so strange that is the one thing. I wonder if
Anyway, I don't know why. Maybe if you put red lipstick on. I think it has something to do with my lips.
Yeah.
So I'm been traveling and I feel absolutely disgusting and I need an everything shower immediately.
Okay. What's included in everything shower?
Well, an everything shower is going to be different for everyone, every woman. Men don't do everything showers. Men barely take showers. How long is Michael in the shower?
That's not a fair question because he's in the shower a very long time, but he showers like every 3 days.
Okay. Does he have product?
No, he has whatever I have placed in the shower.
Okay. So he uses your product. Oh no, Mark does not use my product.
Yeah, I don't use a lot of products. So that's why I'm wondering what your shower is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my everything shower. So an everything shower, for those who don't know, is like when you do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so in my everything shower, I am going to first and foremost figure out what I need to do, like put in the longest. So I'm going to do an Olaplex shampoo. I'm going to double dip that shit. I'm going to wash, rinse, and I will also repeat. I will do.
Wait. What's an Olaplex shampoo?
It's just a brand.
Oh,
Olaplex.
Okay. I thought it was like a specialty.
No, I mean it is. It's patent pending. It's a protein. From what I understand, it's like a protein-based shampoo or line that helps damaged hair. But depending on the stylist you talk to, some are like, this is great for your hair. Others are like, it's terrible for your hair. For me, it works for my hair.
Okay.
So, however, I moved to a different line for my everything shower for my leave-in. I'm sorry, not my leave-in, my hair mask. So I put a hair mask in. I use Unite. Do the hair mask. I have a scalp massager. Massage the scalp. Make sure I put the hair mask through. Then I wrap my hair up, put it in a bun. Boom. We got to do the hair for a little bit. Then I put on a exfoliator face mask. So you exfoliate it in, and then it needs to stay on for same time as the hair mask. From there, we are exfoliating the entire body with a nice exfoliator. Then I want to do some sort of lotion, like oil situation. So I put that on. Then I shave. And now for me, I have to shave every day. So I don't. But in this case, it's full body, full body shave because I am a, what are they called?
Sasquatch.
So, because I'm Hispanic
Sasquatch.
and Italian. So I'm a hairy beast. I don't shave my arms, but I shave basically for my everything else from my chin down. Sometimes my chin. Just kidding. Okay. Then I'm going to rinse the hair mask, face mask off. Then I'm going to clean my body because now I have all this product on it. So just to make sure it's clean. I may do some sort of like foot scrub and callus remover. I like to clean my nails, underneath my nails.
Oh yeah. I like that.
Yeah. Who knows? I might also have a, Crest white strip in my mouth at the time. I don't know. And then the everything shower there's the aftermath. So then I'm going to put on maybe another mask on my face that is going to help with like my pores or just getting all the gunk out. I'm going to obviously put on a nice lotion. If I want to continue with the feet, I'm going to do a foot lotion and then maybe put my little stress relief socks on. What else? Oh, and if I'm doing an everything shower, I have to dry my hair immediately because I have hair extensions. Therefore, I don't want them to be moldy.
Ew, that
PSA.
happens?
Yes. People will, because they're like, I have a weft, which is a sewn in like whole piece. And if you let it dry, it gets moldy. Like you let
Oh
any
my God.
material dry, and women, they let theirs dry. But what I do is when I get out of the shower, I use a detangler and I use a microfiber towel for my hair. So I put the microfiber towel in, and then I'm going to do some sort of leave-in once I go to blow dry, heat protectant, and then I have to, everything shower requires a blow dry, which is annoying because I just spent 25 minutes in the shower. And who knows? But maybe sometimes I'm going to do a spray tan thing. What is it called?
Holy
Self-tanner.
fuck. You're so much more feminine than I am.
Oh, and an eyebrow pluck and a chin pluck.
I
mean, we are very different. I don't know if you noticed
I know,
this.
but I'm just realizing like how I'm either super dude or she's either super feminine. Like
I like a nice spa moment to myself.
Well, yeah. I'm with you. But I'm like, oh boy, I gotta either step up my game here. I literally, okay, so here's what I do for an everything shower, which is most showers, I would guess, because I don't really do anything different.
I don't wash my hair every day. That's why.
No, I don't wash my hair every day either. And I don't shave every day because sometimes I just am like, I don't care.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to do an everything, well, I do, it's called like a pre-cleanse. It's like an oil base. So it helps get like the makeup or like your tinted moisturizer off.
Mm-hmm.
So I do that. And then I get in my shower and I put conditioner or shampoo in and I use Nexus.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wash that off and I probably wash my face with, I forget what it's called. Some cleanser that's like like hypoallergenic because I have really sensitive skin.
Mm-hmm.
So like I can't even use like laundry detergent that has smelly in it.
Mm.
So
you know what's a good makeup for that? Like a primer?
Yeah.
Aloe vera.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. I use it on my eyes because my eyes get really irritated from regular
primer.
Eyeshadow primer. Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know because I actually ended up throwing out my what's the face one?
Face primer.
Well, what's the face like makeup called?
Foundation.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Got it.
I ended up throwing that out this year because every time I would wear it, I'd end up getting like a rash around my chin.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay, well, can't use that. And then I was going to dabble with trying some other brands, but then I thought, I'm whatever.
I use PUR.
PUR. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, because I'm like, I'm going to have to get pictures done here at some point with this pregnancy. So I was like, I probably should get some makeup. But anyway, so then I wash my face and then I put the conditioner in and then I'll shave if I need to. And then I wash out the conditioner and I get out and then I put lotion on and that's it.
Good for you.
No.
I was thinking sometimes I also do like the under eye patches and like a little rolly.
Oh yeah, the rock roll thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see
the jade.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, it's funny because a lot of my like close friends, well, I'll tell you where this all started from was I always like took care of myself in this way, but it wasn't until I started dating Mark, whose friends were all in like dermatological stuff.
Yeah.
That I was like, oh, and then like my girl Ryan, who I call my daughter, she you've never met her. She lives in Minnesota. She's an esthetician, so she's like, here, you've got to do all these things.
Yeah.
I'm like, we haven't even talked about the face care.
Yeah.
Because so I'm doing everything shower. Maybe it's nighttime. There's a whole face routine after that. And also, how do I not look like J-Lo yet? I'm using J-Lo Beauty face care.
Oh, are you?
Yes.
So did her and Ben Affleck break up again?
I heard. I haven't looked, and
That would
we
be
need to
very
figure
disappointing.
out how to be up on our pop culture.
Why don't we just ask ChatGPT?
Here, go ahead.
I am.
I love her. I also love her products, and here's why. They're a little bit pricey. However, it's the first time I've used a nighttime face routine that in the morning, I don't feel like I'm just washing because I wash my face I wash like splash water on my face. I don't feel like it was just sitting on top of my skin. It actually like goes into your skin.
Really?
Yeah. So, but I would like to look like her, please. And thank you. She's like 10 years older than me and looks amazing.
You know what? Speaking of pop culture, I have
Ooh.
2 things that I was told this morning by a client. One is that the FDA approved a vibrator for sexual health for women.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, wow, that's
Let's
nice.
talk about that.
Yeah. And I thought
we've got to look this up.
It's called, here, I'll look at my history because of course I looked it up. It is.
You bought it?
No, not Crescendo.
So do we actually need, guys?
Yeah, well, it's debatable. It's called Crescendo by the Mystery Vibe. So, and then I thought, oh, I wonder if that's going to change the conversations that we have about sexual health in our country. So I thought, oh, that's cool. She bought it and she said she wasn't impressed, but that was just her and her reasons why she wasn't impressed. I was like, well, to each their own. Everybody's a little different in their preferences.
Exactly.
And she was very aware of that.
Does that mean that you can use an HSA to buy sex toys?
Apparently. Well, that's what I was like. So could you always use an HSA to buy sex toys?
You should be able to.
I don't see why
if guys
not.
use fucking insurance to get Viagra.
Right.
Okay, can we talk about the fact that we can't use, you can use like an HSA for like tampons, right? I hope so. I've never had an HSA.
Yes.
But like, why do we have to buy tampons? Like, why is that not just like given to us? Like,
go ahead.
Yeah. Like we chose this.
I know.
I don't want to hear Adam and Eve bullshit.
Yeah. I use the little Diva cup.
Yeah. You like that? Have you seen these period underwear?
Yeah, I have. Do
you know anyone who's tried them?
Yes. I can ask her. She would tell us very honestly.
Yes. I want to know. Because I'm like, I don't have a period. It's fantastic, but I pee on myself sometimes. And
which is not fantastic.
It's fine. It's my life. Listen, when you have abdominal surgery, especially in the pelvic area, pelvic surgery, you're more likely to have some little things going on down there. So did you also know, and I totally cut you off. Please finish your pop culture before I do my did you know?
Okay. So yeah, vibrators. I've texted my girlfriend who I think bought period underwear because she also bought something else that was she's very in the like know of trendy things and tries them. My other thing that this client told me is that Taylor Swift has a bra. Let me look this up because I had to look this up as well. It is a specific bra, vibrator, Taylor's. Here we go. A form bra review that is a viral posture correcting bra that Taylor Swift wore to rehearse. It's about, I think it was like $180.
Oh.
Yeah, 185. And it's an FDA registered posture correcting bra designed to immediately improve your body alignment and body function. So I was like, okay, interesting. I would bet. But then I looked at one of the reviews, like some, what's it called? Journalists tried it out and wrote like a review on it. And she said it was best for like, it was good throughout the day. And it was best for when she was strength training and like doing yoga or something like that. And then her comment on that was like, I was better able to feel like my lats and my back engage when I was working out. And I thought, that's interesting. Now, did the bra help that? Or had she backed off on like the resistance or the weight and really focused on that mental piece of connecting to those muscles? Yeah. Like, or was it because of like, did the bra actually help? Or was it more so you brought awareness to that area? So then you got that engagement. So I thought, oh, that would be an interesting study.
Yeah. Listen, I'm liking all the female FDA things going on right now.
Same.
I mean, let's be honest, there's a war on female health and having autonomy for our own bodies. And I think that, we just need to have more women entrepreneurs slash also podcasters. Wink. Health specific podcasters.
Yes.
The Mindset Mirror Connection podcast.
Yeah.
To talk about it, we need to bring attention to it. We need more products. We need to have more legislation around us. I mean, again, like there's no reason. Like I think about people who can barely afford to eat that, these people have to buy pads and tampons and
I know.
guys
They're
get
expensive.
Viagra.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, the cost of living is high, so those things are going to go up. There
Right.
should never be an inflation on female reproductive products, or
tampons. Let's see the average cost of tampons right now.
I have to. It's got to be like $4 to $6 a box.
I'm gonna go $7.
Whew.
$7, yeah, $7 for 36 tampons.
Well, and then you don't even get the autonomy to be like, just take out my body parts. Please.
Oh, I know, because they make you question that.
reason.
Like, are you sure? And it's like, I mean, if he can get the vasectomy pretty quick, why not me?
Yeah.
So at 2024, the price package of tampons has increased approximately 9.8% over the past year. That's
bullshit.
a fucking
year.
lot. So women typically spend about $20 per menstrual cycle on products, which adds up to roughly $18,000 over a lifetime.
Yeah. No.
That's like some people don't even, oops, I did something. Don't even make that as a salary.
Exactly.
That's
what I'm saying. It's absolute garbage. Like did you hear pop culture wise, like doctors now in Arizona have the green light to perform abortions in California because they in Arizona approved, I think it's like 12 weeks, right? The abortion laws in Arizona got stronger, which doesn't make sense because our governor is not.
She likes to veto a lot.
I know. Well, I met her personally.
Oh, you did?
Do you know that?
Mm-hmm. No.
I used to work with her husband at Child Help.
So it's
great family.
Are legal up to 15 weeks.
Yeah.
Except for emergencies.
Here's my thing. I get it if you are religious. Like I understand the philosophy, but just as you get to choose your religion and have the autonomy to choose whatever religion you want, that's something you should cherish. The fact that you get to choose that religion and have those values and work from those values, and you get to choose to not have an abortion because that's your values. Right. But why do you get to tell someone else because of your religion that they have to do something and then lobby these people, back them up to promote that? Like, it doesn't make, like, you get to choose the religion, like you have freedom of religion to do that, but then you shove it down everyone else's throat. And now we have these rigid laws where our physicians can't do their job in their home.
Or afraid to do their job.
Afraid. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. There's a great episode. I think it's called X Line or Night X. That sounds
Nightline?
like porn. It's not Nightline. I'll have to look it up. But they talk to I think it's like 50 women who are in states where they have these laws.
Yeah.
And these women are conservative. They're Republican, Democrats, independents, and they almost fucking die.
Yeah.
Die because they are denied the right that they have the right to. If my baby, I mean, I'm gonna cry. If that happened to you, I would. Michael and I will burn a motherfucking hospital down.
I know.
Like,
I would be like,
burn it down.
Y'all should fear for your safety.
You better fear for your fucking
They're
life.
coming
You do not
in
do
a really fast car.
Listen, we know people.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. And I couldn't imagine, and like, makes me so angry.
Well, there's actually a really big, not debate, but like kind of a point of concern with this is because a lot of times, so if you're a listener here, you might have heard, I am very I like politics and I like to listen to them. Ooh. So one of the concerns is that when I'm very pro-choice. So I just want to make that clear, and it sounds like you are as well.
Yes.
So
Does it?
so I'm very pro-choice. Now I think different circumstances requires different care, but one of the concerns is that when these political parties or these beliefs or these religions or whomever is anti-abortion as much as they are, and they say leave it up to the states, leave it up to the states. The concern is if you're truly believing like abortion is wrong and a moral injustice, they're not going to just want to leave it up to the state. So they're going to go state by state to state to change it. So the leaving it up to the state is almost like a mist over their actual overall goal. Because if you think about, like, if we were super passionate about fitness, right, which we are, and we were like, well, you should leave it up to the state to include fitness in like their medical kind of, like, if you're going to get on Medicaid, right, on healthcare, then leave it up to the states to justify whether they should include like the gym, up a gym like membership or not. Well, then you and I, because we're passionate, we're going to go state by state to make sure that that's included in the policy. So it's the same thing. And so it's really interesting because people go, well, like the states are going to decide, right? But these PACs, and not just, abortion PACs, but other people with invested interest in their beliefs and thinking that that needs to be a law that others abide by, they're going to go state by state and local by local and influence that as well. So that's something to consider when people talk about like body autonomy, women's rights, the right to choose, or even just what you see when they say, oh, we're going to let the states decide. Now, I'm not for an all-encompassing government like telling everybody what they should do. I do believe we live in certain states for certain reasons, and that's part of what makes our country so wonderful, is that you can relocate based on your views if something more aligns with you. But it's one thing that people don't really consider when they're looking at this type of debate either.
And so we may get canceled for this. I don't give a fuck. If you don't like it, listen to something else. Don't listen to us.
Or skip ahead.
Or skip ahead. Yeah. We believe in autonomy. And if you don't, we believe in autonomy so much so that we've said it all the time. If you want to eat the cookie, eat the cookie.
Yeah, cookie. And I
cookies to babies.
In our defense, what this is probably will be our 25th-ish episode, somewhere around there. We have yet to even talk like politics. So this is really the first time. So if you just happen to be perusing and this is the first one you listen to, we have a lot of quality information. And I think even for some of the podcasts I listen to lately have gone more inclusive of their religious perspectives, which I don't want to hear and I don't care to hear, but I value the other content that they give it. So I do think a lot more people have the ability to almost like compartmentalize that than we give people like credit for. Because I think so much of like our media is you're this or that, you're this or that. But when you talk to someone, there is a lot more gray area. And in fact, that's a lot of the area we live in with our clients is like, it's all gray. You just have to do what's best for you. And if something doesn't serve you, it doesn't mean you have to continually consume it. You can skip, you can delete, you can not listen, or you can move on to the next thing.
Well, and I want to say something. I don't think this is political. I mean, the way we're talking about it is not political. It is human rights.
Yeah.
It is female rights. And that to me, I am saying it from a political standpoint because that's what got us here.
Right.
But if I know a lot of people who are on the other side of the fence as me politically who agree.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that there are more people. This weirdly is polarizing, but also bringing together people who don't necessarily agree on other policies and issues, women specifically, and men actually. But I agree with you. We are all about the gray area. We're all about figuring out what works best for you, what boundaries you set for yourself based on your needs. And this is a big one, and as a female podcast who represents health in women, it had to have been brought up.
Yes, I agree.
Or we're just being little bitches and avoiding good conversation. And guess what? We're not little bitches.
And she was in Compton recently.
Yeah. What? And I have a grill now.
Yeah. It's really getting to you. So.
This is fun. Look at us. Look at us being.
We could have a
us.
podcast, a topic of just they rant.
Yes. Oh, would you guys like us just to rant? If
Oh.
so, please leave it in the comments because we will just rant. Like, what do you guys think about? We're also going to do a Marry Fuck Kill episode. We decided. So please give us your MFKs.
Yes.
Let us know and we will decide on air. So now we have a list of things that our listeners can do. You can send us your gym woes, your woes or like the crazy stuff that's happened to you in the gym, your gym heroes is the good stuff that's happening to you in the gym. We've got the topics that you want, if you want us to rant and what topics you want us to rant on. Yes. And our Marry Fuck Kills.
We also low-key have a Q&A where we do answer
low-key.
Yeah. Have your questions that you have answered and your concerns.
Yes. So this was a big topic. I very much, I feel very strongly about it. And I feel like I'm glad we talked about it. And let's talk about something that also can be very overwhelming.
Well, I was thinking when we were talking on the emotional topic there of this is actually interesting because it could correlate, right? So like your emotions and dealing with stress, dealing with unforeseen circumstances, dealing with inappropriate circumstances, like the overall feeling that you're feeling, trauma, how you're coping with it. And I was like, but here's our topic for this podcast episode.
Not to minimize the last topic, but why you think you're binge eating, why we think we're binge eating.
Right.
This, and again, we're using the word binge. Binge to me is like when we call people narcissists now. It's not actually what's happening. It's actually a lesser evil of what's happening, but we have just used it to glorify and amplify emotional eating.
So you would rather say, so it's why you think you binge eat, why you think you emotional eat would be more accurate. Okay.
But that's not sexy.
Right.
We only do sexy around here, obviously.
Clearly.
Clearly. I did do a side pony, but you can't really tell because
I had one and then I was like, sometimes you got to let your hair out.
Listen, I love it. I will not be doing that because I need everything. I do need everything shower. I took 2 showers today and I needed everything. I need to wash my hair.
Yeah.
I've been living in hotels. Ugh.
Yeah. So gross.
So people oftentimes have a misconception around, speaking of misconception. That should have been our link in. Misconception about like what causes their binge eating. So I thought we'd talk about that. And then we'll talk about what is common underlying issues because it's a real thing, y'all. It's a real thing. And we've talked about it. People utilize food for a variety of reasons. And the first one that people tend to tell me and you is they just lack willpower.
Yes.
As if they don't own a mental strength that everyone else seems to have. They cannot seem to, grasp the idea of having power over food. And therefore they cannot, stay away from the foods that are triggering, usually the chips, the cookies, the cakes. And it's some sort of default in them. So lack of willpower, we can also say lack of discipline. What would be another rendition of that? Those are pretty much the two.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah. And it's this idea that I don't have it. I don't have control.
It's the idea that I'm weak. I don't have control over the situation. I don't know. Like, I just don't have it in me to do XYZ or to like and it's usually you see this lack of willpower of like they think the opposite of it is white knuckling through and they don't have that power to like keep going and persevering, and it's more so again, this probably just isn't right for you, whatever this plan is.
Right. No, exactly. I think that's a great like a great point in regards to how this mindset, like what is the opposite end of that, right? What are we comparing it to? Because you're right. They think that they're trying to have discipline through something that's unrealistic.
Right.
Right. So I'm trying to be motivated and disciplined through something that not most people can do consistently or they cannot sustain. And just thinking of that part, like, oh, you're right. You girls are right. Like, I'm trying to have willpower of something that no one can have power over because it's completely unrealistic.
I interrupt this episode to bring to you our June discount on our one-to-one coaching program. Y'all do not want to miss this. If you are someone who needs accountability, support, someone to hold your hand through this really tough work of rewiring your mind to let go of yo-yo dieting, emotional eating, binge eating, excessive exercise, this is a program for you. The Mindset Method one-to-one coaching, again, is our most intimate program. You get a one-to-one call with your coach every single week. Every week, y'all. This allows you to process, understand the underlying and root causes to the behaviors that you need to rid yourself in an effort to see the results you desire. On top of that, you get direct access to your coach through our messenger and our app any time of the day or week, your coach being there to help you on the other side. You get customized nutrition protocols as well as well-phased and well-programmed exercise protocols. And these will change over the period of the 4 months that you're with your coach. On top of that, you get resources, self-care resources to help you with your nutrition, access to our amazing community of women, and so much more. For the month of June, using the code JUNEMINDSET, you are going to get $250 off our Mindset Method one-to-one coaching program. You will not want to miss this. Seats are limited as we only have so many clients that we are open to taking. If you are interested, you will want to sign up for a clarity call, the link being below. And in this clarity call, we're both interviewing each other. This program takes a lot of work. You need to be ready, willing, and able to do this work. And so myself and Coach Amanda will decide if you are ready and if you are a good candidate for our program, as well as we hope you decide if we're a good candidate for your coach. And so if you are interested in that, please click the link below. This is only going to be offered to our podcast listeners, so take advantage of it. Other than that, let's get back to the show.
Right.
That I think just saying that alone will give a lot of people maybe some peace or allow a breath of fresh air around this, but we'll get to that part of it at the end. The other one I hear is I'm addicted to sugar. I think there was like a
I hate this one.
I think there was like a Netflix special or the Oprah special too said like people are addicted to sugar.
I hate that special.
And I get people asking me that on our discovery calls all the time. Like, what is your input on this? But I'll get to that in a second. Addicted to sugar. What are your thoughts?
I hate this one because I'm like, you're not addicted to sugar. You're addicted to the sensation you're getting from the choice you're making.
Correct.
And you like that passive feeling of that calming sensation. That's not coming from sugar specifically. That's coming from the whole plethora of what's happening.
Well, and if I put a bag of sugar with a spoon in front of you, you're not going to eat it.
Correct.
You're not going to eat it. You're addicted to specific foods that provide you an emotional something, soothing, coping, endorphins, whatever it is, dopamine. It connects to that pleasure center in your brain. And there's always specific foods. It's never chicken. It's never broccoli. And if it was a bowl of sugar, you would not eat it. So you are not.
Something that
go ahead.
No, here's something I just thought of too. I was like, okay, so they're going towards, we'll say cake, right? They're addicted to sugar and they're eating cake. And it's like, but why cake? Isn't cookie sugar? Isn't ice cream sugar? Isn't a banana sugar technically, if we're going to go down that rabbit hole?
If we're talking about addiction, you act like someone who is addicted to meth isn't going to take some crack if it's offered to them and maybe some blow. They're going to get the high.
Yes.
They don't care what it is.
Yes.
Now, and that's a true addict, right? And we are not comparing I mean, a lot of people do compare it to an actual addiction. And I have seen how addiction can spiral into whatever's available. I've seen it firsthand with people I love. And that doesn't happen here, right? Because it's like that idea of like the sugar, the actual granule sugar, people will not. Or you could just like drink a Sprite, no, I'm not going to drink the Sprite because I also need the crunch. I need to feel the texture in my mouth. I need to have that mouth. My client calls it her mouthful. I need to have the mouthful, right? And for her, it's a specific food. For everyone, it's a specific food, and usually one food.
Yep.
Mine has been peanuts. We've talked about it. Peanuts. I like crunchy things. So, addiction to sugar. Anything else on that?
No. Oh, well, yes. Sorry.
Okay.
Oftentimes, like I see people who are quote unquote addicted to sugar. It's more so of like they're probably limiting carbs throughout the day or limiting food throughout the day as well. And so when I hear that, I'm like, I always ask like the back half of the day what it looks like, because usually it's the front half. Sorry, excuse me. Because usually this is happening in the back half. So what does the front half of the day look like? And usually it's coming from really low calories or restriction too.
Yeah.
So
because the body wants the fastest burning energy that it can get. And it's like, sugar, give me all the sugar. And if we top that with emotional weakness, right? So now I've had a hard week. I'm not paying attention to my emotional needs. I am, grinding through. I have toxic resilience. I'm working 16-hour days, plus coming home, making my family dinner, doing all of this stuff and trying to restrict, right, throughout the day. And now it comes to a head and I'm just, my body, both from a physical, as you're talking about standpoints, and I'm just physically tired, but emotionally, I'm not taking care of myself. And boom, I'm in a full-blown binge. It's that emotional weakness. Like people think they can't handle the stress. There's no way they can change their emotional selves, or they just simply don't know how. But this idea of like, I'm just having such a stressed weekday, and majority, and for you, I'm wondering how you've experienced this with our clients. That's the excuse over and over and over again. It's the stress. It's the stress. It's the stress.
Yeah.
What is your experience with that?
That's like, okay, it seems like every week has been stressful. And the other thing too, that kind of like, when I find clients in this state of mind, I almost, the non-sympathetic version or non-empathetic version of me goes, we're all fucking stressed. Like, but it's how we learned how to manage it and how to deal with it and how to put boundaries around certain things and saying no to certain events or saying no to whatnot or asking for support and help. And they keep going like, I'm just so stressed. I'm so stressed. Well, then sometimes, like I have a client right now whose body is reacting to all of this stress that she's built up. And it's like, okay, we have this same conversation about every 6 months. And then you reach for the snacks, you feel guilty. So then we're not logging them. So then we have to have a conversation about that, when really you're repeating the same pattern over and over, despite having all these people around you. So is it the people, or is it you're not taking the actions, or, where is this breakdown coming from? And then they feel this guilt, shame, and weakness emotionally because they're not able to cope with it all.
Right. Well, and it's when we can face the reality that is our reality. I had this conversation on Friday with one of my very close favorite clients, and she said it herself because she knew what I was going to say. She's like, I'm not realizing like this is what it is, and I'm using it as an excuse. Now, in this case, she didn't actually binge. She just didn't do much. So it's kind of manifested from binge eating, which she hasn't done in a long time. Yay. But it kind of manifested into like, well, I'm just not going to do anything.
Yeah.
So it went like the opposite direction, and so we really have to be real with the reality, not what we want the reality. I actually just did a post about this, not what we think the reality should be or we want it to be. We have to be real with, I'm not taking care of my emotional needs. Like, when's the last time y'all have sit and been like, how do I feel today? Something happened to me Oh, I have a lot of trauma in cars, and then I decide to do these long road trips with my husband. Yay, exposure therapy. My psychiatrist gave me meds for it.
Yeah. Fuck
Yeah,
yeah.
we love meds. Just
Yeah.
kidding. I
Yes,
only
no,
took one because of the tornadoes.
yeah.
But when I wasn't taking them, I was just thinking like, you're scared, just sit through the fear.
Right.
And I sat with it, right? Like I acknowledged I was scared and that I have a reason why I'm scared. Like I have to do the work on it. I think I'm going to do ketamine therapy on this.
Good for you.
I was excited. I'm
Yeah.
really excited. I needed to be gone. It
Yeah.
affects, I mean, I was driving yesterday and I like swerved because I thought I saw something in my peripheral. The cool thing is my psychiatrist actually had the same trauma because of an accident herself. And so she gets it. So anyway, you got to take care of your emotions. Sometimes you just need to sit with whatever the feeling is.
Right.
Right. But
you don't have to do anything about it. You don't have to take action, but just to sit there, recognize it, feel it. And I always tell clients this too. You trying to avoid it prolongs it. Right. Correct. So us trying to avoid that feeling probably prolongs it, we'll say 2-3 days, because you're shutting it down, bringing it back, shutting it down. It's coming back, shutting it down like a volcano. Right. Mm-hmm. Then it finally erupts and you feel it all. Or in that moment, we can feel it. Maybe it lasts 2 minutes, maybe it lasts 2 hours, maybe it lasts, 6 hours.
days.
I don't know, 2 days. But you feeling it in that moment will more readily get rid of it than it being prolonged because you're trying to shut it down. That's the scary part of all this.
Absolutely. And for some people, that's their first time actually acknowledging their emotions because they've been shut down for whatever reason in childhood. They didn't learn how to do it and they think they're weak. It's not that you're weak, guys. It's you don't know.
Yes.
So learning would be helpful in that. Yes. And so, another one I hear too is just kind of this like habitual conditioned response. Yes. Like it's a bad habit, right? Now it is conditioned. It was conditioned, but we don't realize it wasn't just something you picked up. Like your conditioning is much deeper than just, like I bite my nails, which also we could say could be but sometimes, those little things that you do. Yeah. It's not just a bad habit. It's a conditioned response to something deeper.
That's so funny that we have this on the list today because one of my clients I was working with this morning, she had a really, really hard body image day today. And she's in just a tough space. And I was kind of talking about, somehow I brought up Ozempic and Wegovy and all of that, the GLP-1s. And she goes, I have one of my best friends is doing it. And I said, oh, really? What does she think? What has been her feedback? She goes, well, it's helped her she has a habit of like late night eating and snacking. And so she said it's been helping her break that habit. And I said, that's really interesting. I said, and so I asked, like, kind of was inquiring just her perspective of this friend that she has. And it's not a habit. It's a coping mechanism for what she's not feeling, or it's a coping mechanism for not eating enough throughout the day, or it's a coping mechanism for something else. Because she goes, she'll just watch. She's like, I've seen her literally go and she starts watching TV, grabs the bag of whatever and starts eating it mindlessly. And then she's wondering, here's my habit. Oh crap, I got to break it. So I'm like, so it was an interesting conversation and topic that we had between us too.
Hopefully you guys can't hear me typing. I'm looking up something.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about your ears.
Tippity type.
Well, I think you bring up a good point. Like, what's the difference between a habit and a coping mechanism, right? So, like, a habit is a behavior that is regularly repeated and tends to occur subconsciously. A coping mechanism is a strategy or behavior that individuals use consciously or unconsciously to manage stress, emotions, or challenging situations. So, similar but different because there's that emotional aspect to it, right? Where a habit, again, is biting your nails or twisting your hair or fidgeting. I have a habit. I do this to my hand. I draw my hand. I would actually say this is more a coping mechanism. I find a sense of relief by drawing like on the back. I do it all the time when I'm talking on this podcast.
My habit, like when I'm doing a podcast or Zoom calls. So with you, I'm either fidgeting or playing with our plant that we have there. here I've got like a rock that I'm like kind of petting. I got this rock, and then I've got like this little, it was a ring thing at one point, but
Yeah.
that's a habit. Not
Right.
eating during this is not a habit. That's just a coping mechanism.
Yeah, no, coping mechanism again too is like we said, it's how it was conditioned, and what we'll talk about here in a sec is the emotional aspect of things, right? The other thing too is kind of this like I deserve to eat it mentality that leads to binging, like, and I don't necessarily think that's why people think they're binge eating. This would almost be an underlying, but I do hear, well, I just, I had such a good week. I deserved to do X, Y, and Z, but they have this false confidence that they deserve to do that thing, but they don't realize that they don't have the confidence. They don't have the ability to intuitively eat. So therefore they go overboard because they allowed themselves to be rewarded or whatever that is. Maybe the thought coming is, I feel like if I have a good whatever, then I deserve it. Or I don't have an example of that, of like a client coming in with this particularly, but I thought it was worth noting that this concept of like, I deserved it, therefore I had it, therefore I binged on it. Do you have an example of that?
I would say even for the client, like say they had a presentation and they thought, oh man, after I do this, like if it goes well, I'll go to, I don't even know, like Cheesecake Factory and get the cheesecake that I just always have after every time I have done something rewarding.
You were loving that microphone today.
I know. I'm like, well, I can't figure out like where I'm putting it. So yeah, I think a lot of people think they deserve the food, because I often use this one when they talk about, well, I just thought I deserved it. Like I felt like I did. Okay, replace that with alcohol, right? Like, do we need a drink? And we talked about this on another episode. Do we need a drink every time a day is like successful, or that like you crushed it and your manager noticed? Like, yes, okay, but then what happens when it's a bad day? How do you cope? Like if you're not able to recognize and feel proud, then are you able to recognize and feel like frustration or sadness or anger? Because I think that line starts to get really fine of when I'm using this food as a deserve or a reward, it becomes something else that has more emotional meaning. So again, we're looking for that emotional feeling. And again, I say like alcohol, because that's not as commonly accepted. Like if you're drinking every day after every single thing because of the day ended up like this, people would be like, oh, that's kind of getting concerning. But because we use food instead of alcohol, they don't think it's concerning. They go, oh yeah, you definitely deserve the cheesecake. Or, oh my gosh, if it was such a hard day, yes, eat your emotions and stuff like that.
So. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and just, to piggyback off of that too, is that social acceptance. And I'll hear people like, validate their binge eating or not even validate it, but like have the excuse of binge eating is because of the people around them. The people around them, having to be in social settings. I think of the clients who do work with where they have to do like client dinners and breakfasts and lunches, or they just have like a pretty exciting social life. It's always just like, well, I just go out a lot.
Right. It's part of the camaraderie of the group.
Right. I can't help it because I don't have any control of where we're eating. So I just ate everything.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not, I mean, yes, that's the problem at hand that you think is causing the binging. But it, again, is that mentality of that all or nothing perfect fail. That's the true issue, which I'm getting into those. But just to finish it off is boredom. I'm bored.
Yep.
I want to hear your take on why you think people use this as an excuse for their binging.
Boredom?
Yeah.
I think
I got a hot take on this.
Do you? I haven't really thought about that, because I just thought, well, then go do something. But I think part of me, my initial thought is because we don't really know how to be bored anymore.
Yes.
Because, so like, think about it. Whenever you're bored, you'll just pull up your phone and look at social media or something like that. Whereas before, if we were bored, it was kind of like, well, I'll just sit here and kind of lay around. or like listen, at least I'll just lay here listening to music or lay here listening to podcasts. But now we just don't know how to be bored.
We have what I call relaxation remorse.
Oh yeah.
We are the go, 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 do, grind, grind, grind. And then when we finally, and guess what we're doing? Well, guess what we're not doing when we're going, grinding, grinding, grinding is we're not managing the emotions of that. Right. So then we're compounding this grind with a lot of stress. So then once we sit, we are overwhelmed, but because we're sitting and we should be doing so many other things, sometimes you are just like, okay, well, eating can be a thing because I'm so uncomfortable sitting and relaxing that I need to be physically doing something because that's my norm. And being lazy I had a client tell me that being lazy caused her pain because her father specifically would tell her, like, scream at her if she was being quote unquote lazy. Now, his frame of reference, he's an immigrant, has a whole story around it. But she said, like, being lazy was a crime. So always would be doing something. And that turned into eating. That was something to do. I could eat and I wasn't being lazy. So we have such relaxation remorse. We don't know what it's like to just sit and be. So rather than sitting with ourselves and being, we'll munch. Because I'm doing something. So good. So we've touched on a few of the actual reasons. I got to tell you guys, emotional eating, binge eating is always going to be an unmet need in your life. Like you said, Amanda, it's a coping mechanism. It's a soothing skill that you've learned. And we need to figure out what need is not being met. So we have a need in our life for love and connection. And this is like needs you should have met in childhood. You have a need for safety. You have a need for autonomy. You have a need for what's the word here? Pause this, Ira. I'll pull this up real quick. Where's my little chart? Oh, I'll pull it up over here. Bing, bong, bong. Did you go to the bathroom? I didn't even think about that. Like, you got a baby on your bladder. Yeah. Like, no, between our takes? Okay. No. Okay.
I'm in the phase right now where, like, I think I have to go to the bathroom, but I really don't. So I'm working on that too.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's really annoying.
All right. Ira, I'll tell you when. Tell me
what word are you thinking of?
Okay. No, it's a chart I have here.
Oh, okay.
So some of the unmet needs that we do not get met in childhood are safety, identity. So who am I? Like, what is my worth? And your worth being in your existence, not what you do. But oftentimes I am only what I do. So my identity is skewed. Safety, as I said, like, you've come up in an environment where it was not emotionally safe, physically safe, mentally safe. Enter word safe. You have a need for connection and love. You've maybe had conditioned love in your upbringing or empty love from your parent, unfortunately. We have a need for autonomy. If we are a people pleaser and we do everything for everyone else, that affects our need for autonomy. We have a need for variety and stimulation. And so in our lives, if we're just in this like kind of mundane, we're not getting out of our comfort zone, that can be an unmet need, which oftentimes I see our like perfectionists do because they don't want to look like they failed. And we have a need for growth, which same kind of thing, right? So those are all needs that like we get wounded in childhood. And oftentimes those are the needs that are not met, right? And so even in we can look at emotion on a lot of those, right? So identity, your emotional identity, emotional safety, learning how to manage emotions, connection and love is emotional. So in our program, this is actually a part of the naming phase of the method, and having clients actually sit down and be like, okay, I've gone through the family dynamics and the knowing, I've gone through the emotional family dynamics and like, how did my family deal with emotions? So now that I have all this information, like, what is the needs that aren't being met when I go to reach for the food?
Oof.
Damn.
And I want to say, you're not going to have the answer right away.
No, you have to do the former, right?
Yes.
You have to do the discovery piece
in
an effort to be like, oh,
Therapy.
Yeah, therapy and therapy.
That's got it.
New
Okay.
shirt.
Yeah.
Does someone have a shirt press company that would like
I
to
know.
sponsor us?
Seriously.
That would be great.
Yeah, that's what, it's so funny. Let's go back to that same client today when we were talking about her body image issues and whatnot that she's experiencing right now. And it was so funny because she, I haven't gotten into this because we're just beginning. And she's sitting there and we're in between sets. And she goes, yeah, my mom. And I was like, there it is. Like,
there she is.
There it is. Of like, is this an emotional part coming from what she has told you over time and what you believe over time, and you not feeling the feeling because she's in this, like, I had this, so I already screwed up for the day kind of thinking too. And so I had asked, what led up to that? And it was kind of like, I don't know. And okay, like, but now we can bring awareness to that too, right? So she, even in this circumstance, had no answers. But then you start to put piece by piece. And I as coaches, we tend to know the answers already just by our intake form and talking with you and whatnot. But we can't give you the answer. You have to find the answer. Because if I tell you, like, Christina, it's your mom, and you're like, no, my mom is great. Like, she doesn't do anything. Then I haven't shown you the opposite side of that, of how to reflect, how to think back, and how to kind of reassess from different points of view. And that's not going to happen. Together. Yeah. And that's not going to happen in a day. That's not going to happen in an hour. That's going to take time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely will. So, really understanding exactly what you're saying, like putting the puzzle pieces together, understanding those unmet needs, because then when we can understand them, we can recognize them and we can meet them. And that's the nurture part of our program, right? Is meeting those needs within yourself without having to do the things that you thought you had to do.
Right.
In this case, eat because I can't sit with myself, or eat because I can't, sit with my emotion. Instead, we do exactly what we couldn't, and we practice it and we nurture it and we mess up at it at times, but eventually meeting your own needs will become the norm. And the beautiful thing about that is when you're meeting your own needs, you're trusting yourself. And another like byproduct of that is that ego inner critic voice becomes quieter and quieter, because as you strengthen the ability to meet your own needs, you strengthen your identity. And your ego and that inner critic is actually trying to protect your old identity. But now that's not who you are, because I know what my needs are. I meet them in healthy ways. I allow my emotions to come through my body. I manage whatever it is I need to manage. I set boundaries, both internal and external. I trust who I am. And when you build on that, that voice becomes quieter and quieter, and that authentic part of your brain gets louder and louder. And y'all listening, you're like, how did this chick from Compton just come up with that?
Yeah.
I'm a therapist, babes. I'm a therapist with specialized training in food and body obsession. This is so true. And when I'm saying, you're probably like, how the fuck am I going to do that?
Right.
We have a program for that.
Well, also I think a lot of people are like, okay, how the fuck do I do this? And it's like, you don't have to know how to do this. Like, we weren't brought up, coming from the gal who has no therapy training. We weren't brought up to know how.
My best.
Yeah. Yes.
Don't discount that.
We weren't brought up to identify these feelings and to walk through these feelings and to know these feelings. And even in a lot of people's defenses, they've sought answers for why this is happening, but they've worked with people who either don't have the credentials or just are not really good at their job too. And so considering that too, of like, well, I've tried. Well, if you're still experiencing a lot of these like binging emotional eating tendencies and you feel lost and you're starting to turn to anything that's going to help, a quick fix, you haven't really worked through it, whether lack of education, lack of awareness that types of people like us exist or programs like us exist, or just even lack of finding a good companion to help guide you through this too. And that's another scary part of this too, because you're thinking of what emotional things have I not gotten? Like, you either have no idea that there's an emotional piece that you're not meeting, like Christina's talking about, or 2, you are super aware that there are so many emotional pieces that haven't been met that you don't want to dive into that too.
Right.
So either way, this snake is going to come, and you can deal with it now, or we can just live our life. But if you're finding yourself like beating yourself up because you're emotionally eating, that's something that maybe is an opportunity there for growth.
Yeah. No, I agree 1000%. And like we said, I mean, that's what we do. We have worked with so many people who have gone through a variety of different programs out there only to be stuck. And I can proudly say that even just this past week, I have had clients that have gone through other binge food freedom programs, and they're like, I haven't binged at all through what we've done here because we got through the actual issue rather than just saying intuitively eat whatever you want. Right. It's not the extremes, anytime it's extreme on one end or the other, it's not, I don't see that it's sustainable. But if you're interested in working with us, we have a on-demand group cohort that will be running June 3rd. Now, this actually will probably air after that, but if you're interested, let us know. You can find the details below. We'll have cohorts starting, depending on the turnout. We may have them starting every month. That would be ideal. Or you can just jump on a clarity call with us. We now have a variety of different programs that makes me so fucking happy. We are starting a completely 100% on-demand mindset method program where yours truly sits through every single one of the reflections that I created. I've done a video on every single one of the reflections. I talk you through each question, why that's important. You get a PDF that has the reflections themselves so you can complete them, and then daily journal prompts. And if you do want any coaching, because remember, this is completely on demand, you get to get coached with us here. It's so exciting. It's so exciting. It's like the most accessible program we've ever had. It is affordable for almost every human. I'm not going to say every human because I want to be, I want to be aware. But I've made it where you can literally do this work and have guidance on your own and get coached and have your questions answered here.
Right.
So, we are pre-selling that. We will put a link. It's not, she ain't ready yet. Okay. She's like your baby.
Yeah.
She's my baby right now. But it's very exciting. I've got to like proof everything, and then I'll decide when the launch date is. We'll launch the first cohort, or I'm sorry, not the first, the next cohort for the group cohort. So now we have, you guys, 1-to-1 individual, high touch, customized coaching.
Yep.
Where you get to work with us.
Yep.
We have group cohort. One side, you can get like more intimate coaching, which will have customized fitness and nutrition with your coach, or you can just run the cohort and just do the mindset method with a group coaching aspect, with a group coaching call, or you can do it 100% on your own.
Mm-hmm.
How wonderful.
We should do a podcast on the benefits of each tier of that too.
Oh, yeah.
Like kind of feature. So, because I think you and I understand the benefits of doing pros and cons of each one, and who I think talking about who would be the ideal person. Like if you're feeling this way or experiencing this way, and this is where you're at, this would be the better program for you.
Do it.
If this is where you're at, because I think I know what we're talking about, but I think for more clarity, if someone's like, I just don't even know, like they have these programs, like I think I could do it on my own. Cause I think a lot of people think they can do it on their own. And I totally believe that they believe that. But in my experience, most of the time getting that one-on-one coaching feature is going to be more nipping of the bud of these things that they're experiencing.
Oh yeah.
And there's going to be more applicable action items that we can give away, because we're brainstorming. Even going into the group cohort is you can brainstorm with other people that are experiencing and working through the same things that you are as well.
Absolutely.
Right. And so pros and cons to each of those, pros and cons to the third tier too. So I do think we need to do an episode on each of those.
Hey,
add it to our list.
We're experts of it. Perfect. All right. Well, if you guys like this information, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. We got intimate about our views and our showers. So
yes,
we hope
more
you
than
love
others.
both sides. And again, this is not a political thing. This is a human rights and health thing for us as women. We need to be supporting each other in making sure that there is not a single thing that we do not get to have that anyone else on this planet gets to have. So, meaning men. If you like this information, please give us a rating, review. Please share this podcast with your friends and family. If you'd like to follow us, she can be found at fitbyamanda.az. Yeah. And our Mindset of Matter program is Mindset of Matter Coaching on Instagram. You'll find us at the Mindset of Matter on YouTube, where you'll find these recordings there. You can also find us on TikTok, but I'll be honest, I'm not doing the TikTok right now. It's just all TikTok is what we put on Instagram. So,
okay.
Yeah. But that's it. And we just want to remind you of one very, very important thing.
What you say in the mind.
That was a long breath.
Well, I wanted to bring emphasis to it.
Okay, ready?
Ready?
Go.
What you say in the mind.
You see in the mirror. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.